Hello, I'm back. As you all know, I'm just a guy. I'm trying to make the best what if fan fiction that I can. And I am here to give you all Chapter 6, Half 2 of What If Carrie from the Stephen King book Carrie met Andrew Detmer from the 2012 found footage movie Chronicle. Now, the first two parts I made were actually just about setup and taking a good look at what their school and home lives are like. You know, being teased by your peers at school and being an outcast of society, and at home, coming home to an abusive parent, and honestly, they're mainly just by themselves most of the time. And parts 3 through half 1, they are about them not only finally meeting each other, excuse the background noise, but they're not only about meeting each other, but they also establish a bond and a strong friendship together. And in this one, Andrew actually loves being around Carrie so much that he honestly has feelings for her, and vice versa for Carrie. But they're both timid young kids. Plus, there will officially be rumors going around about them now. I'm pretty sure you can guess what kind of rumors. But now, I'm pretty sure you'd rather me just let the story speak for itself, so by all means, let's get on with the story.
Ch. 6 The rumors aren't true, have to. As Carrie pulled up a third chair and sat down, Principal Morton continues his questioning. Okay Carrie, according to Mr. Detmer, you were there as well, correct? The principal asked. Carrie nodded. Well, I'm only getting one side of all of this, according to Andrew, but since you were there, I would like for you to tell me what happened, the principal said. Well, me and Andrew were just talking about the talent show yesterday, till that guy put Andrew in a headlock, and his friend was sticking his tongue at me and tried to lick my face. Then that guy there snatched Andrew's camera away from him and he pointed it at me and his friend as he was trying to touch his tongue to my cheek. Carrie explained. Andrew? Do you still have your camera with you? The principal asked. Andrew quickly nodded yes. Let me see. The principal asked. Andrew started to sweat a little as he went through his backpack to get his camera. Damn it, Carrie. Now there's a possibility of him catching the footage of us on the roof. Andrew thought. Then as he gave his camera to Principal Morton, he examined it with confusion. Andrew, I'm afraid you're going to have to help me out with this. I'm not exactly as tech-savvy as most people, and this all looks a little too complicated to me, Principal Morton said. Andrew felt that he could breathe a little easier now. He got up and fast-forwarded his video all the way to where Wayne snatched it from him and gave it back to Principal Morton to watch. Then he saw all of what Andrew and Carrie said. About another boy sticking his tongue out at Carrie attempting to try and lick her. Then the camera started moving and shaking and landed on the floor as if it were knocked out of Wayne's hand. Who was that other boy? Principal Morton asked. That guy was Sean. He often helps Wayne with picking on me every chance they get. Andrew said, turning to Wayne, who was scowling at him and slowly curling his hand up into a fist. Principal Morton raises his eyebrows at Wayne, then made another announcement calling for a student named Sean Taylor to the principal's office. Sean had to pull up another chair, though the principal was getting a little worried that he might be running out of space in his office. "Where were you at 7:27 a.m. this morning?" Principal Morton asked bluntly. "I was with Wayne like I am every morning," Sean answered, confused and nervous. "Well, according to the footage Andrew showed me, you were doing a little more than that. In this video, you were trying to lick Carrie's face. And don't try to deny it, it's all here on Andrew's camera," the principal said in calm anger. Sean was silent. "Well, it looks like I'm going to have to give both you and Wayne a week's worth of detention. Carrie, Andrew, you two may go back to your classes," Principal Morton said, dismissing them. At lunch break, Carrie was walking to the bleachers where she first met the other three boys. At first, she didn't see anyone there and she felt a feeling of disappointment swell in her chest. Then she heard someone calling her name, and when she turned around, to her delight, she saw Andrew running at her with a smile that says, "I'm glad to see you. Hey, glad that we're meeting back here again," Andrew said with enthusiasm. "Yeah, do you know if the other two are coming?" Carrie asked. "No, I don't, maybe they will later, but is it alright if we have lunch now? Or do you want to go ahead and wait for Steve and Matt?" Andrew asked. Carrie smiled. "No, I don't mind, let's go." After they went to the top, Andrew took out a bag of chips and 2 cans of Pringles. One was original and the other was sour cream and onion. Andrew gave Carrie a choice and she chose sour cream and onion. "Sorry that I didn't bring anything to drink. I'm a little low on money and we try to save up for my mom's medication," Andrew said. Carrie gave an understanding nod. "I know, I remember you telling me when we were talking last night," Carrie said. Once again, even though he didn't necessarily say everything, her heart still went out to him. "That's okay, I'm sure your mom means a lot to you, and you got to prioritize. Right?" Carrie asked with a warm smile. Yeah," Andrew said timidly with a blush and a grin. It's nice to see you again," with a smile. "It makes you look cute, it's a beautiful smile," Andrew said, nervously feeling his heart pick up a little. Carrie once again gave a smile and a blush. Then after a giggle from her, she looked at him and said thanks. You're welcome, no problem," Andrew said with a grin and shaking his head yes. After eating several chips, Andrew was facing an internal conflict with himself as to whether he should ask her to prom. A part of him really wants to just ask her, but another part of him is afraid that she might say no, or maybe she doesn't feel the same way he does. I've been wanting to ask you something," Andrew said in nervousness, his voice a little shaky. "Yeah?" Carrie asks with an enthusiastic gleam in her eyes. "I was wondering, if you didn't mind me getting you some more sour cream and onion Pringles," Andrew asked to his own disappointment. Carrie looked a little disappointed, but she gave an accepting grin and shook her head yes. Yeah, they're really good," Carrie answered in an enthusiastic tone, but did her best to hide her disappointment. Andrew cleared his throat awkwardly. Yeah, I'm glad you like them and I'll try to get them for you from now on," Andrew said with a grin. "Hey Carrie, hey Andrew," a female voice said from a distance. "Hey," Andrew said with a wave and a grin. "Hey Miss Desjardins," Carrie said loudly with a smile. With Miss Desjardins and the rest of the girls at gym class. Though Miss Desjardins briefly went to greet Carrie and Andrew, she was really in the middle of teaching her class of girls on the football field. And they all were lined up in a row facing Miss Desjardins, who was walking towards them. "You all have a big week coming up, a big month actually. Probably the biggest month of your lives," Miss Desjardins said. All the girls started looking around at one another and started mumbling and murmuring to each other with grins on their faces. "Prom and then graduation, aren't any of you excited?" Miss Desjardins asks. Most of them started giggling, and most others just made a grin. "Probably have all of your dresses, all of your dates by now," Miss Desjardins said while pacing in front of the girls. Then she stopped in front of Christine. "What about you, Chris? Who's the lucky guy?" Miss Desjardins asked. "Billy Nolan. You don't know him, he doesn't go to this school," Christine answered. "You going to get him a boutonniere? Or are you going to pin a bloody tampon to his lapel?" Miss Desjardins asked almost darkly. Christine rolled her eyes and said, "I so don't need to hear this," and tries to walk away. But Miss Desjardins quickly stepped in Christine's way. "You're not going anywhere," she said in a low serious tone. Then Christine, out of fear, steps back into the lineup. Then Miss Desjardins walks over to Sue, who was looking down with a sad guilty frown. What about you, Sue? You and Tommy campaigning to be prom king and queen. I would have voted for you, but not now. Miss Desjardins said, frowning at Sue. You all did a shitty thing last week, a really shitty thing. And one of you had the audacity to post a video of it. Miss Desjardins said in grim outrage. All the other girls looked around wondering who she was talking about, but both Sue and Tina were looking directly at Christine with a shocked and incredulous expression. This is bullshit. Christine said. That's it, thanks to Miss Hargensen here, you're all going to be running suicides. Miss Desjardins said. I'm not doing it. Christine said back. That's up to you, that's up to all of you, but anyone who stops running is suspended. And if you are suspended, you are not allowed to go to prom. Miss Desjardins said, stopping in front of Christine to give her an intimidating scowl. Christine just stared back with her own angry scowl. And while you're running, I want you all to think long and hard about what it would be like to be Carrie White. Miss Desjardins said, now standing in front of Sue with the same glare. But Sue just looked down and said shame. As a little more time passed, all the girls ran from one end of the football field to another and ran from one side of the sidelines to the other. She can't do this to me, Christine said bitterly as she was running and panting. Just let it go, Chris, we're almost done. Sue said, though she felt just as tired. And every day this month. All because of Carrie White. Like hell I will. Christine mumbled angrily as she stopped. Keep going if you want to go to prom, Hargensen. Miss Desjardins said. Go to hell. This is child abuse. Christine shouted in exasperation. What did you just say to me? Miss Desjardins asked angrily. I'm not gonna run another goddamn inch because Carrie White got her period and was too stupid to know what it was. Christine said in cold exasperation. Then you're suspended, you're out of prom and out of my class. To the principal's office. Now. Miss Desjardins demanded. No. Christine said sternly. Excuse me. Miss Desjardins asked, growing more and more irritated by Christine's insubordinate attitude. You can't decide that. She can't do this to us. Christine said while panting heavily. Goodbye, Chris. The rest of you keep at it. Miss Desjardins said to the rest of the girls. Someone can die from dehydration. Tina, you have a heart condition, right? If we all stick together, they're not going to suspend all of us, they're not going to keep us all from prom. There would be no prom. Nikki? Lizzie? She called out to them. But the twins exchanged an uncertain look and cast their eyes down. Heather. Christine said, turning to her. But she just turned her head away. This is bullshit. We didn't do anything wrong. Christine said in obnoxious exasperation. All right, ladies. Come on, let's go. Miss Desjardins says to the rest of the class. Then Christine walks over to Sue, and takes her wrist. Right, Sue? You're with me on this, right? Sue snatches her wrist back, starts backing away from Christine, and gets back to doing her sideways runs. The rest of the class except for Christine joins her. Miss Desjardins blows on her whistle again and tells all the girls to keep going. This isn't over. Christine said angrily. This isn't over by a long shot. Then as Sue was doing her side runs on the football field, she looked over at the nearby bleachers and saw Carrie talking to Andrew as they were eating chips and talking and smiling at each other. Sue made a small grin as she looked at both of them. Keep moving, Miss Snell. Miss Desjardins said loudly. Oh yeah, sorry. Sue apologized as she continued. Though they weren't in every class together, they both met and talked a lot between classes. But Andrew and Carrie and sometimes Steve and Matt enjoyed spending time together. For the past few months, as they kept spending time flying around, pulling pranks, moving toys around to either scare or charm little children, and even took the time to have sincere and meaningful talks with one another. For a while, Carrie, Andrew, Matt, and Steve, though Matt wasn't fully invested with them, truly loved and enjoyed their time together. Things at school were about to get complicated and frustrating to deal with. As Carrie decided to walk to school this time, she looked up to the top of the school building, saw Andrew waving at her, she gave a smile and waved back. Andrew noticed that though there weren't very many other students there yet, there were still plenty of other students that could notice him if he's not careful. So when he ran off the building out of sight so he could subtly fly down without being noticed, a random girl walked to Carrie. So, how was he? She asked. Carrie just looked confused and moved her eyes around awkwardly and incredulously. I'm not asking for any details, but he was good, right? Carrie still looked confused. What are you? She trailed off as she saw Andrew walking towards her, and widened her eyes in realization when she realized what that girl was talking about. Wait, no. Me and Andrew don't do that. We're just friends. Carrie said almost angrily. When Andrew was walking to try and go over to say hello to Carrie, he was stopped by two random boys. Hey. How great was she? One boy asked. I bet she was really good. Wasn't she? The other boy said. Then Andrew glared at both of the boys. Not that it's either of your business, but I never touched her. Andrew said, walking around the other two. When Andrew finally caught up to Carrie, he noticed another girl talking to her. Hey Andrew. Is it true that you and Carrie? The girls started, but Andrew cut her off. No. It's not. Whoever told you that has no idea what they're talking about. Andrew said in exasperation. The girl briefly widens her eyes in fear, then quickly walked away. Carrie also looked a little afraid, but noticed that he looked a little stressed. Are you okay? Carrie asked, a little worried about Andrew. Andrew gave a sad sigh. I don't know. It's just. I know how rumors are in high school. And please don't believe any of it. Most of the time people who start rumors don't even know what they're talking about. It's all just a bunch of talking. Andrew said, looking at Carrie. Carrie looked down but nodded. And they both went into the school. Everyone was grinning and chuckling at the sight of them both, that they just cringed and timidly tried to hide their faces. As the school day went on, both Carrie and Andrew got a lot of grievances from a lot of other students. Andrew was just more and more irritated to a point where he could use his powers on anyone. And Carrie was not only irritated, but a small part of her felt that she believed some of it. After all, she had been tricked before plenty enough times to wonder if Andrew and his two other friends were too good to be true. Carrie felt like there were two sides of herself at war. One side of her was telling her that Andrew, Matt, and Steve were very nice boys and that they were worth trusting, and that they would never do anything to hurt her or trick her. But on the other hand, another side of her is saying that it might just be another trick. There are no nice people in high school, and all three of those boys are too good to be true. After all, everybody wants a chance to play at least one trick on the awkward girl at school. And her mother has been telling her since she was a kid, that all boys are just a bunch of sinful, slobbering dogs. After school with Matt and Casey. Hey are you doing anything after school? Matt asked. Yeah, I'm going to be filming for my blog later. Casey answered. Honestly, I want to talk to you for a sec. Casey said with an anxious tone in her voice. Okay. Matt said, raising a curious eyebrow. Have you heard about the rumors of your cousin and that Carrie girl? 'Cause I've noticed that she's been hanging around you and Andrew a lot lately. Casey asked, feeling very worried and concerned. Yeah, but I don't really pay much attention to that kind of stuff, and besides, I don't even know if it's true. Matt said casually. But that's your cousin. Casey said, a little surprised at Matt. Yeah, but we deal with our own problems. That's just how we are. Matt said dismissively. Hold on, do you even care about your cousin? Casey said, a little outraged. Yeah, of course I do. I just don't concern myself with him as much as I do you. Matt said, pulling her in for a kiss. But she turned her head away before their lips connected. Matt made a curious, awkward expression and wondered what he did wrong. Look, whether that's true or not, or if the rumors are true or not, the least you can do is to try to show that you care. I mean, you sounded a little bit cold when you said that. Casey said, looking at Matt with a serious expression. Well, I tried to talk to him, but he hasn't always been super easy to talk to. Matt said. What do you mean? Is that supposed to be some sort of an excuse? 'Cause the last time I saw you two talking, you two appear to be having a pretty good conversation. Casey said, appearing to be a little upset. Whoa, Casey, where is this coming from all of a sudden? Matt asked, a little concerned. I'm sorry, it's just, in PE, the gym teacher made us run suicides and she said that while we're doing it, we should all think long and hard about what it would be like to be Carrie White. Casey said. And as I was running, I've thought about Andrew and how he was there for her when no one else even cared to try. Casey said sadly. Well, that's not entirely true, me and Steve try and hang out with her and Andrew. Matt said, hoping to cheer Casey up a little. Yeah, I know, but since Andrew gives Carrie the most time, I feel like he is the best example. 'Cause, no offense, Andrew gives Carrie the most time and actually shows how much he cares. Casey said almost passionately. Wait. Are you saying that I and Steve don't care about Carrie as much as Andrew does? Matt asked. Not necessarily my point, but it wouldn't hurt to put a little bit more effort into trying to show at least your cousin how much you care. Casey said. Well, Steve has told me the same thing once, and I don't mind doing it. But I like making time for you more. Matt said as he pulled her in for a kiss again, and this time she let Matt kiss her. I guess I can't argue with that. Casey said as she kissed Matt again. What do you say about taking a break from your blog, and we spend some time together? Matt asked. Sorry, I have a lot of followers, and people count on me for some interesting content. Back at that party that was meant for Carrie and Andrew, I already took a break. I can't afford to this time. But I'm pretty sure we will have plenty of time next time, so goodbye for now. Casey said, giving Matt one more kiss and walking to her car. Matt grinned to himself and walked to his. With Steve. As he was driving back home, his cell phone rings. Then on his phone, the caller ID pulled up a picture of a girl in a cheerleader uniform, and under the picture was the name Samantha, and he presses the answer button. Hello. Steve asks. Hey it's been a while since we've even talked, what's going on? Samantha asks. Oh, I've just been hanging with Matt and Andrew, Steve answered casually. Look, ever since that party at Haven Hills, you've been hanging around those two a lot. You're not keeping anything from me, are you? Samantha asked in suspicion. No, we've been everywhere. We went to the mall, a diner, Baskin-Robbins, went into the city and sat on the top of a couple of buildings. We did some pretty crazy stuff. Steve said. But what about us? Samantha asks. What do you mean? Steve asked. When's the last time we've ever done anything like that together? Samantha asked. Steve shifted uneasily even as he was driving. Sorry babe, you're right, as soon as I see you again, we'll spend some time together, I promise. Steve said. By the way, there is one more thing, is it true that that guy with the camera that you were hanging around is sleeping with that Carrie girl? Samantha asked. No. Not that I know of. Steve answered. Okay, I've just heard a bunch of rumors at school, and I wanted to know if they were true. Samantha said. I recommend you don't pay attention to all of that, most of the time those kinds of rumors aren't even true. Steve said. Okay, and I'm going to hold you to your word, Steve. You better call me back. I love you. Samantha said. Yeah, I love you too. Steve said back before he hung up his phone. Then Steve parked his car, got out, and went straight into his house where his dad just looked sad and depressed. But his mother quickly kissed him on the cheek and ran out the door. With Andrew. He was just making his camera float as he was laying in his bed thinking about Carrie. He was just wishing he could have been braver to ask her out to prom, but every time he tried, he felt shy, scared, and flustered. He honestly never thought he'd ever find somebody like her in his life. Not just the fact that she's another girl with telekinesis, she never thought he'd find someone who is such a kindred spirit to him. He was so used to being an outcast of society, and no one ever caring about him or his problems. But when he got to know Carrie, he came to realize that maybe there are people in the world who care, maybe there are people in the world who understand how it feels to be on the outside looking in, even how hard any given day is when you have to wake up to an abusive parent and hate home as much as you do school. Not that he likes the idea of Carrie suffering just as much as him, but it's kind of reassuring for him to know that he's not the only one in the world who knows and understands how hard that is. Though it made his camera drop to his bed, he stared at the ceiling in thought and smiled as he was thinking about Carrie and how beautiful her smile always looked. I don't know how yet, considering the rumors, but somehow in some way, I will ask Carrie to prom. He thoughtfully promised himself. At Carrie's house. Though her mother forced her into the closet, she didn't put up a struggle this time. Though she doesn't like being locked in a closet full of scary religious artifacts, and be forced to pray for forgiveness, she doesn't mind spending some time alone in her prayers. I don't know if you're just now hearing me or if you were with me all along. Right now, I just want to take the time to thank you for such a great past few days, for Steve, Matt, and Andrew, for this incredible gift, and for giving me a reason to keep having faith. Carrie thought in prayer. Carrie smiled at a thought. Your faithfulness really does continue throughout all generations, doesn't it? Carrie mumbled to herself, thinking about Psalms 100 verse 5. I don't know if the rumors at school are true, but I've really grown to like Andrew a lot, and he's a very nice boy, so I have faith that they're not true. Carrie prayed in thought. Though there was still a part of her that was afraid that it might be true, Carrie slowly drifted asleep. At school. This time they both make it at the same time and both just sit on the steps of the school. They both smiled at each other. Hey, it's good to see you again. Andrew said softly and timidly to Carrie. Yeah. Carrie simply said with a grin. There was an awkward silence for a moment. Andrew rubs the back of his neck, and Carrie fidgeted a little where she sat. Look, I really hope you don't believe any of that stuff that people are saying. I already know what that's like, and I would never do that to you or anyone. Andrew said sincerely. Carrie made a smile and gave a nod. Okay. She said timidly. Well, I hope you've had a good enough day yesterday. Andrew said awkwardly, for lack of anything better to ask. Yeah. Well, Mama still locked me in the closet 'cause I kept coming home late, but other than that, yeah, yesterday was good enough for me. Carrie said with a smile. That's nice to know. Andrew said with a grin. Yeah, when you have some good memories with some people, some of the things that used to bother you, don't bother you as much as they used to. Carrie said, looking at Andrew with a small grin. Then Andrew looked away with a timid grin, and his cheeks started to glow a light red as he also started fidgeting nervously. Carrie, I've been wanting to ask you, if you were gonna. But before he could finish that sentence, Miss Desjardins greeted both Carrie and Andrew from a distance away as she was walking away from her car. It's nice to see you two here, and this early. Hey, you two don't have to just sit here and wait till it's time to go to class. The cafeteria will be serving breakfast in about 15 more minutes. Miss Desjardins said. Nah, I'm good, I already ate before I got here. Andrew said. Yeah, me too. Carrie said. Okay, I'll see you in gym class, Carrie. Miss Desjardins said to Carrie. But even when Miss Desjardins left, there was still a moment of awkward silence. Though both are comfortable around each other, they both find that they don't have very much to talk about. Then Andrew smiled and broke the silence. I don't know if I told you this before, but out of all the things I like to do, I like being with you the most. Andrew said in a low but sincere voice. Carrie's cheeks went a little red. Really, I like it more than I like filming everything, and that is honestly all I ever do. Andrew said honestly. Now that you've mentioned it, where is your camera? Carrie asked, looking around and expecting to see it floating around somewhere. I've decided to take a break from that for today. I think I finally found something better to do. Andrew said, looking at Carrie with a smile. Carrie looked back with her own smile. After a while, more people showed up, and most of them, especially boys, kept asking either Carrie, Andrew, or both, how long have they been doing it, how Andrew or Carrie could do better, and the same boys who picked on Carrie when she sat at the office, even tossed Andrew a condom and told him to make sure he doesn't get any diseases from her. When Carrie looked down in embarrassing sorrow, Andrew noticed and angrily walked to the boys that threw him the condom. And he threw it at one of their heads to get their attention. Yeah, you can take that back, 'cause considering we don't even do that, you both can go straight to hell. Andrew said loudly and angrily. But the dark-haired boy he threw the condom at tried to swing at Andrew while his back was turned, but he quickly held his sore hand after he swung, 'cause when he hit Andrew's face, he felt like he hit a brick wall. When Andrew turned back around to face the boy with an intimidating glare, he immediately took a few steps back in fright. But Andrew walked up to that guy and snatched him up by the collar of his shirt. I wonder how many girls you've slept with? 'Cause I've found something in Carrie, most people can search their whole lives to find but will probably never find it. Andrew said in angry passion. Yeah? What's that? The dark-haired young man asked, trying to swing at Andrew again. Andrew caught it and began to squeeze his fist, which was terribly painful for him. Andrew was really using his telekinesis to crush that boy's fist. A true and real bond with someone. And contrary to the rumors that are going around this school, I did not have to have sex with her or even touch her to get it. Andrew said loudly. Then he turned to the other boy who was just staring in fright. Do you really think that sex is the only way to express your love for someone? 'Cause all me and Carrie ever did was just be there for each other, and that means more to me than any physical relationship. Andrew said passionately. You two and the rest of these people in this stupid school can believe whatever you want. But I'm with Carrie because I care about her. Not because I just want to have sex. And if you think that sleeping around with a bunch of random girls is something to be proud of, then you're a bigger liar than the person who started this rumor. Mainly because you're lying mostly to yourself. Andrew said loudly. After Andrew pushed that other boy away, to his surprise, there was some clapping from a small group of people that happened to be nearby. As he walked to Carrie, he noticed that she had a big happy smile. I meant every word, you know. Andrew said with a sincere smile. You know, I'm not going to lie, a part of me did believe these rumors and I was struggling whether to trust you or not because I've been tricked before, a lot. But now, especially after hearing you say all of that, I know you're really not like everyone else here. Carrie said with sincere assurance. Really? Andrew asked with a smile. Carrie gave a head nod and an assuring smile. I know you were being real and sincere, I could feel it. Carrie said with a smile. Then the bell sounded signifying that first period was about to start. They didn't share their first period class, so they had to separate for now. But Carrie was sure that she really could trust Andrew, and Andrew felt more sure of himself. He didn't know how yet, but he was going to find a way to ask Carrie to prom. Not that he still didn't feel the fear of rejection, but since he felt braver, he wouldn't let that stop him from trying.
And so concludes all of Chapter 6. I hope you all enjoyed. Comment below and tell me if you did. But first, I would like to give out an apology to all of you for me taking so long to make this. Complications arose in life, and I've overcome enough of them to make this. And also, I would like to give a special shout out to both Josh Trank and Michael Landez. They are both incredibly good writers. And also Stephen King, he is also an incredibly good writer. Shout out to both of them. And excuse the background noise if you hear any. But I would also like to give a personal shout out, but this first name I'm about to mention is a special one considering I've already seen her video. Crazy Amanda, I saw your video and I wish you luck on your considering I heard that you've caught it, but hopefully you will be able to get over it. Fingers crossed. And you're also in my prayers. And Tessa from Mama's Geeky, I hope you're doing well as well. And also one of my favorite channels, Struggle Nation, Joe. I hope you guys are doing well, because as you said before, the struggle's real. And believe me, I know it. And also, I would like to say that though I'm going to eventually wrap this chapter up in 3 or 4 more chapters, I will not be finished with all of the whole fanfiction thing. I have ideas for others, and hopefully they would be good enough to hold all of your interest. Unfortunately, they won't be, most of them won't be, anime based, but, hopefully they'll be interesting enough. And I would also, wait, I already said that one, but, I would also like to point out that unfortunately I will not be giving any release dates because, these take a long time for me to make and I'm doing them by myself. So unfortunately there's no release date, but please know that I am working on all of these. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And I hope you all have a great day and rest of the year. Catch you later. Oh, and P.S. I do not own any movies or music or anything that anybody might recognize. All is owned by its respective companies, and I do not make any money off of any of this. This is all just for fun, just to let everybody know. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next part. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and share as well. Catch you all later.